and two alternates here.
So Hillary's here, so.
So Dave and John are online, and Abby's online as well. Billy and Catherine are online.
Steve?
No,
No.
he's not gonna join us.
No, that's okay, I'm just asking. Okay, his voice just comes out of nowhere,
Yeah,
you know?
he mentioned to me he didn't think he would be able to join us as.
Okay, are we
I
ready?
think I
to-
actually got an email saying you wouldn't be here. I'm sorry.
That's okay, he caught me on his way out the door.
Okay, are we ready? Is the owl on?
The owl's on, we're live.
Okay. All right, thank you for being here. We'll call the meeting, the planning board to order for January 15th at 4:32. According to my iPhone. This is a hybrid meeting at Pleasant Street Trailer about zoning articles. And we'll be taking roll call votes. So I will call out the members just to get you know, that they're here. So Dave Iverson. So
Here,
Dave. John Kishner,
Here.
Hillary Rayford,
Here,
Joe Topham. Here. And that will, the acting chair votes aye. Howard Matz
Here.
and Abby DiMolina,
here,
alternates, and Steve Welch is not here today. Okay, so staff will get, Leslie Snell and Megan Trudell.
Here. Here.
Okay, so we'll start out with the public hearings.
We have Catherine and Billy online.
Catherine and Billy are online. Thank you. Sorry. All right, so we've got zoning map. Do you want to just go through one at a time? How would you like to do this?
Sorry, real quick, because this is slight different from the email I sent. Don't forget, we have those two previous plans on the agenda that were carried over from Monday night's meeting. Dan Malloy had the first.
Oh,
one is
that, okay, I have to recuse from.
yes,
Okay.
so
Geez.
I don't know if Joe, you wanna
Yeah,
take
well,
over as chair pro temp
Yeah,
in
do you
the
wanna
room,
first?
or Dave, you wanna take over? How do you wanna handle it?
oh, I love to see Joe back in that seat.
Good answer.
Well, first we want to approve the
Michelle,
agenda and see if there's public comment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You want to do that?
yes. Is there any public comment for items not on the agenda? Anyone in the audience? Okay, I think so. It's a different kind of meeting. Okay, we'll continue. So you wanna,
Yeah, you want
Do
to
that?
drop me into. the-
okay, so I'm gonna be recusing from these two articles left over from Monday. And we'll move that first.
Okay, so,
Mhm.
is Dan Malloy available?
Dan can't make it. He is at the Board of Health, so I told him, since I generally do the overview on the minor mod requests, I wouldn't mind to do that. And if you had substantive questions, we could always continue it again, but it's just a really small small ask. So Billy, I don't know if you have handy actually is it in the packet? Perfect. Let me actually pull up Billy's staff report from Monday, if you'd bear with me just a moment. All right, you normally have all this stuff pulled up in advance, but it was a tight turnaround for us.
I can speak to this if you'd like, Meg.
Oh, okay, that would be great.
Yeah, so there's a small, I'm gonna zoom in here. They're proposing 168 square foot addition on the left side of the retail space. This is where you enter to pay for gas. It's a fairly small area to begin with, and they're looking to expand this area to provide coolers and more storage. So it wouldn't affect parking calculations. It's a fairly small request there.
Okay, Dave, you have a comment? You're muted, Dave.
Dave, you're muted.
Still muted.
I feel like Bert. Through you, Mr. Chair, to staff, does this affect either their ground cover or open space?
No, it does not materially affect their open space calculations. It doesn't throw that out of compliance, and it also doesn't affect the parking requirements.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other commissioners? Members of the public? Anyone?
It's not a public hearing.
Oh, so, no, sorry, Campbell, no public comment, sorry.
Sorry, I just had a question.
That's all right, I just found I was being acting chair right now, so I'm a little caught up, right? And no more comments, motions, other thoughts?
Can you first make a motion that it only requires a minor modification
Yeah.
before you vote?
Anyone want to make that
I
motion?
make that motion.
And any seconds?
Second,
Thank you. Okay, Dave on your motion?
Aye.
John on your motion?
aye,
Hillary,
Aye.
thank you. And the acting chair says aye. Okay, moving on to Island Gas, 11 Industry Road.
This is another one I spoke with Dan Malloy about, Mr. Chair. And I'm going to share my screen. So this is let me know when you can see it here.
Got it.
So this is a request at 11 Industry Road, and they're looking to put in a vapor recovery system. These are the tanks that are out there. This is really it's kind of a safety mechanism that when I spoke to Dan Malloy, he said the applicant really they weren't sure if they needed to apply for this, but they felt like they just wanted to get it on the record. It's this about 400 square foot pre-constructed unit that'll get delivered to the site, and there's a small control room for the vapor recovery system.
Okay, thank you, Billy. Commissioners, any comments? Not seeing any,
Other than the same questions I had on the last one, but
no,
No, it doesn't materially impact the open space.
Great.
And the finding would be to, so the request would be to move approval. And that.
Do you want me to pull up the staff report from the previous month just to share on the screen?
I have it right here.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. That the request doesn't materially affect the findings and conclusions upon which the original decisions were based and so it shall not require a public hearing.
And we
And
need
it's
a
in
motion.
harmony with the purpose and intent.
okay, thank you.
Need a motion for that, correct?
Yes, please.
Yes, minor modification.
I'd make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, have a second?
second,
Thank you. Dave on your motion?
Aye.
John on your motion?
aye,
Hillary?
Aye.
Thank you. And the acting chair is an aye. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
No, we
Welcome
need,
back, Matt.
The other acting chair.
no, wait, don't. That was just that it wasn't, do we have to, another vote on that, Meg?
No,
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 no.
that's good.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're back to the regular agenda items for zoning and town meeting. Okay, so zoning map amendment. R20 to CN, portion of 3 Toombs Court. You wanna take that?
Sure, we have the article sponsors here. Do you
Yep.
guys want to speak to it first, or do you want me to give a quick overview?
If you want to give it.
Okay, sure. So Billy, can you pull that map up on the screen?
Yep,
This is
hang on
the-
one second.
Thanks. And while he's looking for that, this is a citizen petition. It's an approximate 30,000 square foot lot that's currently in the R20 zoning district. It directly abuts CN, the property that you all know as Espresso to go.
Espresso.
And so the request is to place a portion of their property, which would be a conforming CN lot, 7,500 square feet with the required frontage on Toombs Court into the CN zoning district, while keeping the remaining portion in R20, so that would stay conforming as well. So it's to carve off a piece and place it into the CN district, which again is the abutting zoning district. And this map that,
Which eliminates this, any question about spot zoning.
yes, so it's not spot zoning.
Just wanna make sure we're talking about that first. Okay, anyone have any questions? You
Meg,
guys
I know
want-
you,
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead,
sorry.
Dave.
Meg, I know you sent this to us, but what's the quantum of vote on this?
So the quantum of vote on this would be 50%, for two reasons. It changes the lot size to a smaller lot size. It also allows for mixed use development. So for that reason, it meets two criteria for the reduced voting threshold.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
You guys wanna, okay,
Yeah, so I
Oh.
mean, once you get there, you have to open the public hearing first, take public comment. But when you make the vote, whether it's in support or not support, just recognize that as a- yeah.
Now, so,
okay.
so. You guys wanna talk to the sponsors, do you wanna talk about this real quick? Or do you wanna,
Sure, yeah.
don't be nervous, just normal, whatever, it's
Um,
not good.
the reasoning behind it is just,
Do they need to come up here for the
No.
owl?
No,
They
no,
don't,
no,
okay.
yeah.
I'm
We
just
need
asking.
their names for the record.
Okay, name for the record, sorry.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Timothy McClure,
Jeannie
Own-
McClure.
owners. We're doing this for the reason of pretty much the only way we figure we can stay here in the future is to be able to gain enough money to get the finances in order and, without destroying what we have on our part, with the portion that we have to take out. It's going to abut exactly what is happening next door to us in that one Toombs Court. So we kind of figured that that was not such a big call to ask for. And, at this point, I know we've talked to you about possibly putting some limitations on it and things like that. We would certainly be in favor of limiting what could actually be done on that property, within the scope of what you guys would allow us to do. But really, it's just something we don't necessarily want to do, but feel it's necessary for our future to be able to, Jeannie's family's been here for 100 years. If we want to stay, this is
what we have to do.
this is what we have to do. Yes.
And this fits into what we've been doing in this area as far as creating lighter commercial. I don't know if this was originally RC2 back in the day or not. I can't remember that. There was a vein of it, but I think this was. I don't think this was originally R20. Out by the street. But it may have been.
Says R2 on the site plan,
Yeah.
So it does, interesting. Okay.
prior to that.
I'm not sure what the original district is, but putting this in the CN district is consistent with the commercial corridor
The
all around
corridor,
Old South
yeah.
Road with the commercial nodes that are identified
Yeah.
in the master plan.
Yeah.
And I think the addition of this one 7,500 square foot lot
That's just an
on
access
Toombs
to
Court is
75.
completely consistent with planning practice in the master plan.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have anything? Campbell, did you want to say
That was
something?
my only question,
Oh.
is how large was the
Yeah,
lot?
so
They
that's,
didn't Really say, they said a portion, and then you sort of wonder, well,
that CN is 75,
no, I know
yeah,
that,
yeah,
but I
I
wasn't
just,
sure. It's
they
put
don't-
in
On the site plan,
15.
it's spelled out.
Our
Okay.
property lot is 200 by 150. So if you're looking at it from Toombs Court, we're required to get the 50 frontage.
Right,
And it's gonna be a straight rectangle, 150 back, 50 in the frontage. we're not trying to
Mhm.
maneuver it around in any way.
No, great, I just, that was sort of
Yeah.
a missing piece of information.
Right.
And it's nice to see your butters have signed off. on this as well.
Yeah, and then,
Pardon me?
Your butters have signed off on this as well.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
positive.
yeah, I mean,
That's good.
have nobody that's, had any complaints about it. I mean, it's,
Thank you.
no,
I don't,
this is,
I don't think we're trying to do anything.
no, this is
Dave's got
a mixed area to begin with. Go ahead, Dave, you, there you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, no, listen, I think this is great and I hear you loud and clear. You need to do it to stay and we don't want to lose you. I am interested though, maybe through staff, if they're willing to give up some of the uses, what would the process be there for them to do that? Because I would, for their well-being, I would encourage it. Because there's some uses they might not want to live next door to.
Right.
Right.
So the first step would be to identify the uses as a planning board to decide what uses you'd want to prohibit. They would have to volunteer those restrictions. You'd have your attorney draft up documentation and give enforcement rights for acceptance to the select board. So that agreement would need to be provided to me before town meeting. But the most important step is for you all to determine what are those uses going to be in the public meeting.
So would it be best for them, do we have time in the process for them to maybe study the use chart and come back to us?
Yeah, we can do that. We can continue this to
29th.
or February 2nd, because the 29th is full.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you guys? I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
Yes, I mean, ultimately, we would prefer to have just a single family moving in next to us. We don't, I mean, I know we can't
Well,
dictate that to a
But you
certain.
could remove a lot of the uses that
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
That's-
that would make that the obvious move. So
Can't work. Yeah.
I don't want to, I hate to do this, but if you guys are concerned about going through the use chart and deciding what should stay and what should go, Meg knows what I'm gonna say.
Well, we certainly take guidance.
No, yeah, we
What,
can.
I mean, we can't ask for ridiculous types of things, but.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking to not try to do anything outside the boundaries of what's been being approved elsewhere. It
Yeah.
just, we would not want to have.
A liquor store.
you know,
A takeout food.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
something like that, you know. what I
Yeah,
mean?
so, but you have to volunteer them and you have to identify them. And so I would suggest, and it might be just each of you you guys have a copy of the use chart and call Meg on the phone and go through the uses and just cross them off. I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. And then come back to the board. Most likely, we're gonna approve that. And then we get it ingrained in the article and you guys do the legal work you need to do.
Okay,
In the past, when people have done things like this. Does it turn some people off when you try to ask for too much, or is it more of a benefit to the general public where they say, oh, good, they don't want this kind of thing going on here or here,
This is how do I say this? This is like a old housekeeping type of thing with the old, that's why I was asking that. When was this part of the original RC? No, it's part of the original R2.
Right,
Which
right.
is 77. It used to be
Yes.
probably R1, like, if this comes all the way from the east side of this goes back to the state forest, like Rugged Road. On the left side of Rugged Road was R1 originally in 72, and then it got switched to R20, and this must have gone all the way back there.
I believe.
Were you?
I have.
back to not to Rugged, to Tacoma.
Right,
But
but
are you saying all the way back?
all the way, I'm
Right.
pretty sure that's where this came from, because if it says R2 somewhere, then that's the original name of R20 was R2. That's what they
Okay.
called it.
We have I know we
So-
have an original plot
My-
plan that
my-
was drawn up
Yeah,
like in 1972.
yeah, yeah. So my point, reason I'm saying what I'm saying is Old South Road is Old South Road, but when you can adjust, we need light commercial
Mhm.
in the road, close to the road, where it's not residential now. You're essentially you're asking to change a piece of land that should have probably been some type of light commercial, but we didn't have those districts back then. Nobody was thinking about these things.
Yeah.
So I sort of see this as just fixing a small piece that is gonna be good for a business and to be able to live on the property at the same time,
Yeah.
that type of stuff. And that's what we need in that area. So,
Mr. Chair, can I make a
Yeah.
motion to continue?
yeah.
I think Hillary has her hand up.
Oh, Hillary, no,
Aye.
I wasn't trying to, yeah, no, I'm just trying to explain to people that live here what's going on. This is not, doesn't come up every day. Yes, go ahead, Hillary.
Oh, thank you for recognizing me. Mr. and Mrs. McClure, thank you for coming in. And I do agree that this is a logical way to achieve your objectives. And I also want to support Dave's suggestion that
Yeah.
like be careful what you wish for. I did have a question for our staff or maybe some of the other board members. There was an application that came on shortly before I joined the planning board, which was a big redevelopment of the Espresso to Go area. And there was a lot of pushback from the board. I'm just wondering, I mean, I know the McClures seek to, probably sell this piece of land because of their state. I'm not making an assumption. I'm just reacting to what I heard the objective was. But how would that potentially, I'm just thinking about what's going to happen to the whole parcel if this piece became part of a large piece right next door. And what might happen on the doorstep. And a related question is that I'd love to hear staff comment on is, there is R5 in the area. It's not adjacent, but it's all in the area. And given that they said they'd like to have a single family home, would that ever be an option? So 2 questions, love to have a response. Thanks.
I can respond. So R5 would not be an option. That's something that we did take a look at, but it isn't directly abutting. So in my opinion, that would be considered a spot zone. Pulling up the use chart, hold on. Not the use chart, the map.
While she's doing that, I mean, as far as, what was proposed on the adjacent property and what may or may not happen on this property in the future for either is totally speculative, so we can't really comment on that.
Yeah.
And-
Big proposals.
And I think that, that goes to the suggestion of limiting potential future uses, right? So some of that can be addressed through that process. So the property in question is here where my mouse is hovering. So yes, it is close by. It isn't directly adjacent. So we thought that CN would be the best, path forward to achieve their goal here.
Yeah, makes total sense.
I mean, and I think, Megan, we had this comment when we were in your
Mhm.
office, we had this conversation is that, we were talking about maybe different shapes of how, because I think we did talk about the R5 and how would you do that where, and really, I think first use definitely pointed out, it's like, nothing abuts, that's R5, so really it's fine. And we weren't opposed to going to the 7,500 square feet.
Mhm.
I mean, if that's what it takes to do that, because, I mean, it's like Matt said,
Well, it's the minimum
it's
size for
everywhere
that.
along Old South Road now, and
Can't just make a 5,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's really, it's more out of necessity than like we just, oh, well, we have this, we wanna just, make more money or something.
Because we live right next door, so we want to be very cautious
Right,
as to what
exactly.
what can go up.
Emily, I can tell you want to say something. Just hold on 1 second. I don't want you guys to feel nervous about this conversation. This is Nantucket. This is the old stuff that doesn't come up every meeting.
Right.
That pops up out of, the past. And it's like, hey, what are we gonna do with that property? This is the good solution for you, for your situation. There are other situations that don't have this, ability to mix and match in the area that's already got small zoning. If you were in lug 3 right now, you wouldn't even be here.
Right.
There would be nothing for you to do at all, except the covenant lot, and that'd be it. Okay,
Right.
so this is a good conversation to have. It's not like it's, it's agreed and you feel, I don't feel like that. That is not the case with you. I wish I had land in small zoning, but it's just, everybody's in a different place from their original family or property.
Right.
So, okay, so, Emily, please, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Emily Molden, I just had a question to understand the process a little bit, and maybe this is obvious and I'm just catching up, but the zoning article would change a portion of the lot, but I presume that then a subdivision would have to follow that. So this is kind of setting it up for that, because in the meantime, it would
Mhm.
obviously be very complicated to manage different uses on one same lot. And I just wanted to make sure I was understanding that. Is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and typically the person will come forward with a preliminary A&R plan ahead of time so we can make sure that the zoning is adjusted properly
Okay,
at town meeting.
okay.
Okay, so we're gonna continue this because of the uses, right?
Yeah.
You wanna talk about all that?
So,
Okay.
Yeah, February 2nd. So I'll reach out. We could schedule a time for you guys to come in and we'll go through it.
Okay,
Thanks,
great.
Meg.
Thank
So,
you.
okay, I'm gonna make a motion to continue till February
Is
2nd.
there a second?
Second.
Second, motion made by Joe, seconded by John. Joe?
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
and Chair votes aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, everybody.
thank you, guys.
Have a great night.
Everything's cool. Just think this is,
Just
What
one
happened?
more question. You said February 2nd.
I forgot the data.
Did you want us to maybe review some of the usage stuff now and come back with that, or is
We
that
need to
not,
go
is
out.
it, or is it too early?
No, no, I
Make an
think I'm
appointment.
gonna reach out, or you can
She's
shoot me an
gonna reach
email.
out
We'll
to
make an
us.
appointment. We can go through it in my office and figure out what it is you're gonna propose to the board. Okay?
Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
Cool.
Good night.
Thanks.
Okay. On to Emily's article. For the 4181L. So. Here we are, Emily.
Hello, do you want me to go ahead or?
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You wanna sit up here with us? Is this okay? That she's there?
And so
As long as the owl catches all the voice, I don't know.
Watch everyone. If Billy could share the language though of the article, that would be,
Helpful.
yes.
So I guess while he's pulling that up there, Emily Molden for the record, and I'm back, I guess I should say. This article, as I think the board is probably familiar with, seeks to make some changes to section 33 A of the zoning bylaw. And specifically, it's looking to remove the language that automatically grants lots that have been divided through the state's 4181L provision for pre-existing structures that predate the adoption of subdivision control. To remove the language that automatically grants those lots with pre-existing non-conforming rights. And then there's additional language that is being added, which essentially states that structures on lots that have been newly created through that state provision can seek to alter or expand with regard to setbacks and height through the special permit process at the Zoning Board of Appeals. It also clarifies that the lots cannot increase the number of dwelling units than what would have otherwise been allowed prior to their division. And then also that they shall not increase any nonconformity due to ground cover, these newly created lots. So this is a concept that I've brought to the board a few times now and has come close, but not quite made it over the 2/3 threshold at town meeting. Last year, the board supported the proposal, which was very similar to this. This language, which I had reviewed with the chair and with Megan, is, I believe, identical to the language that was in the planning board's positive motion last spring. So it's basically replicates that, which I believe had been reviewed by town council as well. So I'm happy to talk about it and answer questions. Hopefully it's not too foreign or new to anyone, but
No, it's not.
I just wanted to say one thing quick because I've received some comments or questions in my office about the status of repetitive petition for this
Mhm.
article.
sure.
Leslie and I did have a conversation with town council, and this would not be considered a repetitive petition because the planning board acted favorably on the language last year. So that only comes into play
Okay.
when they've, not
Haven't
supported.
supported.
Yes, so it is not to be considered a repetitive petition.
Okay,
So
thank
just to
you
clear that
for
from out
clarifying.
the gate.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so, hi, Emily, so. Is this, so we've already kind of discussed this a little bit about my sort of thinking on this whole thing, I mean, I think this should only be discussed about ROH and R1, in my opinion, the old R1, we call it now, right? And you know why that is.
Actually, I'd love if you could talk about why.
Well, because R1 that's left is kind of, could be ROH in the future. But it might not ever be because we banned pool for one vote in ROH, so there's gonna be pushback to those people to switch until we get that all figured out someday, if that ever happens. You see what I mean? That's why I'm saying it. And Joe is more familiar with this stuff than me as far as, but that's pretty much where I'm going, and this includes Sconset, SO1, right? Is that how we're looking at this? I mean, how much stuff out there has ever happened? I mean, there's probably, is there Sanborn maps for Sconset? And aerials and all that?
That's a good
There's
question.
aerials.
I mean-
Definitely aerials. There, I don't know about Sanborn. There have been
From that was from the fire, right?
a couple in Sconset over the last several years.
I mean,
so.
I know there was one on recently that
Mhm.
was a big lot. Kind of
Out in
situation.
Lucas.
Well, no, that one, no, not that one. I'm talking about Maury Lane on the right.
Okay.
You were
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
You don't
yeah,
miss meetings
for that.
at all, actually. So,
Okay.
ever. But that one on Maury Lane, I was kind of shocked about, but it really was a kind of a nothingy one.
Mhm.
And I just look at some of the ones out of town that they, and even the one at Hinkley. Or whatever, it's not, whatever it is, connecting it to Gosnell and Hinkley. That. They're already limited to what they can do to begin with. Some of them lots up there, they're huge and they're in R20. It's kind of crazy. So it's like, sort of like looking at one little tiny pebble of
Mhm.
building compared to the rest of it. Do you know what I'm saying? If you ever tried to go to LUG1 over there, they go crazy, but technically it should have been done years ago. If you wanted to eliminate, now they got the ground cover of R20 and with huge lots, so they're getting this huge amount of bonus. But anyway. And I already told you this. What you started out saying is exactly what we need to talk about. What can already happen on the lot has to be explained. Because the voters don't fully understand that. That has to be explained. It really doesn't limit what can be built. It limits what can be sold. And in some cases, it's a sell and keep scenario, similar to what you just saw happen here, except it's completely different. I just think that we need to reduce the ground cover to 30%. This is my thinking. Joe hasn't been at these meetings, I don't think, when I said this, and he's got it in his head, this stuff. Reduce one of the lots to 30. I don't know which, that has to be determined, which one would be the one to be reduced. But that's how I kind of see it. I think the division part is not the biggest problem. I think more of like the doubling. It's not doubling what can be built, but it's doubling what can happen activity wise and parking and all of that. It is technically adding people, even though someone can build another house on the existing lot, for example. Is that fair to say?
So I think that in some cases that may be the case, but in others it's not, as far as
The sliver ones, the little slivery ones.
to build an additional dwelling unit on a lot. And there definitely have been a number where, you know, a new dwelling unit has been constructed that I don't think would have otherwise.
Vestal, the Vestal Street one on the left before you get to Quaker.
Yeah, and I think some others as well. My perspective has really been that I mean, this is complicated because I don't think we have a really good sense of how many of these are out here, and they
Yeah.
all have pretty unique
That's the
situations.
catch.
And a big part of the challenge is that the way this is set up right now, there isn't zoning oversight and review of these always, as they're depending on what somebody's proposing to do. As far as the redevelopment of them. And I also just think that it is appropriate to, I mean, the notion of granting pre-existing rights to something that's newly created, you know, there has been case law that has said that the state's 4181L provision never intended to grant automatically buildability to these lots that are being created. So from my perspective, I think it makes sense to clean this up, something that's complicated that we don't necessarily know or can't anticipate how it will impact lots across different zoning districts. And then if there are other ideas or opportunities to change zoning, to sort of do that separately from a clean slate instead of trying to complicate
Yeah.
something that's already pretty messy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cause I just think it's really hard to understand like the depth of what will come out of this as it stays the way it is, and we have seen a number of issues. And it hasn't happened very often. I think there's only one lot I can think of off of Pummick Pond Road that could have created a covenant lot, but this enabled a market rate lot. I think that only happened once, maybe.
There must have been
That I remember a while
an
ago.
older part.
Yeah.
But that's,
So I just feel like there's a lot of complexity to this, and that it makes sense to resolve that, and then sort of the ideas that you have and those concerns maybe to be addressed separately rather than trying to.
I mean, I think the biggest issue is the A and R part. It's just sort of like by right. Without any theoretically, and I just, if there was some way to put, I don't know, whether it be conditions, whether it be some other way to make it just a teensy little bit more difficult, but not eliminating the division. I don't agree with that. I just think that they are all different. Every one of them is different, and that's where the confusion
If I
comes
can
from.
actually clarify, that's a really good point, Nat. This does nothing to change someone's ability to divide the lot, because state law still allows them to do it based on the pre-existing structures. All this changes, and please correct me, guys, if I'm misspeaking here, but all this changes is then how those lots can be redeveloped afterwards. But there's nothing about this that will stop the division of those lots, because that is allowed under the state law, right?
Okay.
Is that
That's
accurate?
correct.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's good to clear up.
yeah.
Because, and I don't know if it was last year or the time before, like, we felt it was really important to not revert back to the variance provision or even a special
Right.
permit, to keep the division clean. And then to address any changes to the structures or the ground cover or
Like
whatever
thereafter,
after, yeah.
yeah. And
And then the other thing, Emily, that the one on North Liberty Street, the most recent one, I think that was the most recent one we had with the shed.
garage shed.
What's a shed? Like chicken coop. I mean, that was a building over there. Like that was that was built in my father's era. I can tell by looking at how the studs were and stuff. But some of them definitely is questionable in the sense of what an actual structure is defined as.
Mhm.
So that would be, I mean, I don't know how far we can go with this for this year. I don't wanna try to say that we can't
Well, and I think that
support something. It's just, what are we?
Can
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
jump in here, please?
Yeah, yeah.
The division of the land itself that is allowed by the state, there's no changing that. You could put any bylaw in place, that would be conflicting with that, it wouldn't matter. You have to allow the subdivision when there's two structures on the lot that predate 1955.
Regardless of what the
Okay.
structure was.
No,
Okay,
I'm getting
that's-
to that.
Yeah,
Town
Okay.
council just issued an opinion that it's an entirely, I'm a little tongue-tied, I'm sorry. The decision is entirely up to the board what constitutes a substantial structure. So what you all determined to be substantial has absolutely nothing to do with the article that Emily has presented.
but this is where we
Right.
get into litigation. And that's why to me, if we were saying no because of something we kind of opinion thought it wasn't a structure versus what. I just don't want it to get to that. I want to be able to have a better process to get where we agree on this, even if we're not all in agreement all the time. And this one thing this is something we need to. I don't know. I just feel we need to move this forward, Emily. Like, you're not just an average person sitting there coming to meetings. Like, you know what's going on. You pay attention. You collaborative with staff. We just got to find something that we can make work with what Nantucket has on the ground. There's more of these can happen. There's probably some up on the cliff, but they have big lots. It's kind of you know what I mean? But families that are trying to keep their property. And they got one family member that wants the money. These things that's what's causing a lot of this now.
And I think that again, part of the purpose of what I'm proposing is to sort of take us back to what existing zoning allows.
Yeah.
Which is sort of the idea, and I think case law points to that, sort of just like reflecting current zoning on these newly created lots so that, it just sort of clears up confusion there. But I mean, again, I think like the A&R process for approving the divisions, again, that's something that's sort of laid out in state law. I don't think that's anything that, I don't know if that can be changed, and how substantial the structure is that allows for the division. Again, that's something that it's not super clear, and so board will have to talk about, based on your discretion, like what your policy and protocol is for deciding on that. But
Yep.
This is more about just, once those lots are created, having the future use of that lot reflect existing zoning, I guess.
That's what I was saying about the 30. Go ahead, you guys got that figured.
I was just gonna say.
Hillary's had her hand up for a
Arthur
while.
has had their hand
sorry.
up for a really
Your
long time.
hand
Yeah.
is easy to see.
Thanks.
Hillary's is like.
No,
doesn't-
this is very
I don't know.
relaxing. I'll just let you guys take care of everything and I'll just kick back.
All right, go ahead, Hillary. Sorry,
Thank
I
you.
didn't realize you were-
Thanks so much for recognizing me. So I'm going to go back to what Nat led with, which was, Nat, I believe, if I understand you correctly, you like the idea of approaching it this way, but you were suggesting that maybe we think about it as only an ROH, SOH sort of thing. And
Well, the ROH, R1 and Sconset.
Okay.
That's kind of up to how that all works. Usually they tie in somehow. When we do stuff with ROH, it sort of includes SOH magically.
Okay.
So I just didn't know if that's what we were doing with this.
Anyway, but thank you for clarifying that. But I actually think we should I think we're gonna have a hard time passing it because the people who objected to it last time will object to it for all the same reasons. So we
Yeah.
have to get a little bit more data about how few or many properties this affects and maybe reach out to some people. But, and I think we also need to firm up our view of what a substantial structure is, which has to be well discussed and defined and consistent, because we can't just pick and choose like, oh, well, if you have a really big lot, we'll accept a chicken coop. But if you've got a really tiny lot with a lot of people around it, it really got zoning, then it's got to be like a cottage. But I'm going to suggest that we do support this and not make it zoning district dependent. And here's the reason why. I know I'm guilty of overthinking things sometimes, so you guys can tell me if I am, but I'm thinking about the seasonal communities designation. And I would like to hear a little bit from Megan about what she expects is going to happen, because what we're expecting to see, I think, from seasonal communities is that every seasonal community participant must make a zoning change to allow the development of undersized lots for year-round ownership. And so that means what I hear from there is that we will have to allow development of undersized lots, and we will have to make a zoning change. So if we do want to change the zoning districts and we pass this, we could then make a zoning change by changing the zoning district. So that might be the overthinking part coming from me. But the seasonal communities bit, I'm just kind of wondering, are we even able to get to where we want to be? And that's a question I'm going to pose to Megan.
So they haven't come out with the final draft of the regulations yet. In my conversations with EOHLC, that was the one provision that I do know that there have been substantial revisions to from when it was in draft form. In some of my conversations, it was debated, is it intended to be, a way to generate undersized lots similar to the way our covenant program and secondary and tertiary lots function? Or is it a mechanism to unlock development on existing undersized lots? And that wasn't clear, and that was really part of the major problem. Once those regs do come out, we can evaluate that then, but do know that there is a path to come up, have the state approve a waiver. So if you demonstrate that you're complying with housing initiatives and other forms, there is a mechanism to exempt you from those requirements. So that's a path that could be considered as well, but it's just too early to tell what may shake out. So hopefully soon.
I mean, again, that, like, for example, what happened at the beginning of Walnut Road.
Mhm.
I think Emily brought that one up. That, I mean, have we ever had anything like that before? I mean, I've been here 20 years. I don't remember anything like that.
There was one off of Fulfest, what was it, at like Red Barn a few years ago, they
Was that?
created 3 lots.
I mean, so when you have something like that come in,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not trying to say it's a one-off and we shouldn't care. I think part of what Megan is saying with, like, if you had to say that family benefited, and it's pretty obvious the benefits that they're getting if they put a restriction on one lot, let's just say with the existing building, I something like that. That's great, but how do we craft that to work under the 4181L versus all the other things we're doing? I mean, there's all sorts of legal issues going on here that I can just see in my head going, this is gonna get challenged, this is gonna get challenged. That's why I'm focusing on the small stuff, the in town, because that's really where most of it's gonna be. Yes, there's probably one in Quidnet that we just didn't think of yet. There's a couple old houses out there. So I heard there was one in Tuckanuck, by the way, that was coming. But anyway, so I don't know if we care about Tuckanuck, but it's just, I just want, like Megan said, the people that are gonna challenge this know what they're talking about. So this has to be done in a way that doesn't obviously not remove the division, which you're not trying to do, but somehow can make it a little more restrictive, but showing what can be built under its current footprint is wicked important. Like, that's the part that the public doesn't understand. If you have a big lot in town that's under 10,000 square feet, that's big in town, that can have another whole building put on it that no one's thinking about, that has to be explained. Because we're not doubling, we're just separating ownership of what can already be built. So does that make any sense?
Well, I think that if something can be
Okay.
built under existing zoning, the lots can still be divided. It just. This impacts the way they could be redeveloped, but if there's enough ground cover or the ability for additional dwellings under existing zoning.
Right.
That won't change.
Right.
If this passes.
It won't change unless we change the ground cover to one lot, for example, as one of the thoughts that I've had about it. I think a lot of it is perception too. Yes, you get the one that's obviously different, like Vestal Street one, which actually looks pretty good. Like, so why we can't build these houses with like old shingles? You never know it was there after a year. But what happened across from the Craig property on Main Street, to me, that gets brought up all the time. It hasn't changed anything except ownership. But it's still exactly the same as it was when Bert Johnson was alive. So the other Bert Johnson. Arthur Reed. Okay, is Arthur on right now?
Arthur's on and Dave's had his hand up.
Okay, so Dave, do you want to talk and then we'll go to Arthur? You want to let Arthur speak?
I will bow to Arthur every time.
That's what I would do.
I am flattered. I'm flattered. Thank you, Dave. I think this article, as written, has a lot of problems, some of which have been touched upon during the discussion now. I would call to your attention the fact that by eliminating the language that gives pre-existing status to the lots that are created by a 81L subdivision, you're basically making every one of these, even though they are entitled to endorsement under the subdivision control law, go back to the position in which, in order for them to be valid lots under zoning, they have to go to the ZBA for a variance. And that, I know, is something that was a main reason why the present language was put into the bylaw, because the ZBA was having to deal with these variance issues, and they really weren't equipped to handle it. And last year, of course, this was defeated, and a number of people, have relied upon the fact that it had been defeated and went forward with projects and with dealing with their property, and in some cases with buying property, with the understanding that it had not passed and that they would be able to deal with the property on the basis of the law as it now exists. There is no provision in there for grandfathering, and there would be no way for people who already own properties in this situation to proceed with their plans without going through the variance process. Again, I think that it would be, I agree with the concept that there should be more information in terms of the extent of the existing properties that might be subject to it. I have the sense that the majority of those where it would be available have already been looked at and have already been gone through the 81L process if it's something that the owners want to do. But in any event, I think that the whole thing needs a great deal more study. I think that once again, a lot of that has been touched upon tonight, and I would recommend that this not go forward this year. Enable people already in progress to do what they're doing, to amend the article to provide for grandfathering of existing 81L lots, and in general to consider overall what the ramifications would be. Thanks.
Thank you, Arthur.
Thanks, Arthur.
Go ahead.
Leslie had to clarify
Okay.
to Arthur's.
Go ahead.
We did have town council look at this language last year when it was drafted, and it was really important to us at the staff level, and Emily agreed to not send people to the zoning board of appeals to receive a variance. And town council was of the opinion that the language as worded would prevent that. So there seems to be a difference of legal opinion on that, but we did have Amy Questle review that.
So what you're saying is they would have grandfathered status before, or would it be like like after a certain amount of time if it passed? Or something like that? No,
What would happen is, let's talk about a new application,
Yeah.
where someone comes in,
Mhm.
you do the A&R on 2 5 structures. Those lots can move forward as buildable lots, but any changes to the structures require a trip to the zoning board for a special permit. So the lots themselves wouldn't have to be validated by the zoning board through a variance, but changes to the structures would need zoning board of appeals review.
Can I just, you a follow-up on
Yeah.
that? Didn't town council also say, so not talking about new applications, but talking about anything that already exists, they already have their pre-existing non-conforming status, and that's not something that can be taken away,
Right.
right? So if they've already gone through this process, they're not impacted by this article.
And just to add to that, that's our position as well, and even like in talking about this with our council, I agree with what Megan said, that as with most zoning changes, they're basically good as of the day that they're enacted, so the lots that have previously been divided under 4181L would not necessarily be subject to this, so they would have their pre-existing non-conforming status. That's also our understanding, that this would be moving forward. And then also, I think with all due respect, people purchase property all the time in a zoning district that then comes up for proposed change at town meeting. And I don't think the fear that someone may have purchased a property with a plan to do something is a reason not to bring anything forward to town meeting. If you tell me, like I understand that that may be the case, but I also think that I have brought this in concept forward 2 times before. And it was pretty close both times. I think the first year I missed 2/3 by 6 votes. Not having planning board support, and then last year with planning board support, maybe it was like 12 or something. So I think there is a lot of support for this out there. And I don't think it should be too much of a surprise to folks to see it again. I hope.
is Arthur still on?
So,
I can
Matt,
bring Arthur back.
I don't mean to do that. Yeah, go ahead, Dave, go ahead.
so a few things. I think we should support this. I don't think it takes away people's right to develop those lots. I know we discussed this at some point, Emily, but did you ever add an implementation date to that? I'm sorry, I didn't see it, but that might be a good thing to do, to be honest with you, is to, shoot a little farther down the road to give people time to wrap up whatever they have plans to do. I think it would help get it passed. And sounds like by the quantum of your vote, maybe not a positive recommendation from the planning board would help you out.
I didn't go that far. I am very much hoping for a positive.
But I think, would you be open to an implementation date or no?
I mean, I would prefer not to push it too far down the road, but I'm always open to anything.
What, in reason I wanted to talk to Arthur one time is.
Arthur and Hillary has their hand up.
Okay.
But I think that with an implementation date, the discussion at last town meeting might have been different.
But I also think, Dave, it's the complexity of this is not, everybody in that audience doesn't understand what this is. This has to be explained. Like, it's not that simple. This isn't really a zoning change. This is a special ability change, or whatever you want to say.
Different kind of housekeeping now.
This isn't house, this is that housekeeping before we had housekeeping.
Same but different.
Anyway, but I just wanted to clarify what Arthur was saying before I go to you, Hillary. When he talked about was he talking about pre-existing? Excuse me, was he talking about ones that are already approved becoming pre-existing? Non-conforming and having to get special relief in the future, or is he talking about people that have plans in their families to do this and not thinking this is coming. It's like two
I think
different,
he was talking about both.
is he talking about both? Okay.
But he's on, so we can ask
Okay,
him.
go ahead. Thank you, Arthur. Sorry, I just want to
Yeah,
get clarification.
I would love to be able to agree with the concept that there's grandfathering in here for existing lots that have already been created in the past under 81L, but I'm afraid I have to strongly disagree with that. The language that gives these lots the protection is the language that is being stricken, which gives the lots pre-existing non-conforming status. The lots otherwise would be, assuming that they are dimensionally non-conforming with zoning, would continue to be merged together for zoning purposes, and that was always the problem with these lots. Back when zoning originally came into existence, and it was generally considered that there was an exception to be able to subdivide lots on the basis of 81L. There were a great number of those done back in the 1970s and early 80s. And then a case came up in which Kevin Dale represented someone who wanted to get out of a deal, and bad facts always make bad law. And the result of that was that the so-called Dale Doctrine was developed, under which it was held that the lots were not valid for zoning purposes, even though they'd been validly created for subdivision control purposes, so that each lot had to get a variance in order to be a valid lot. And that then was underscored by the city service case, which was in either Quincy or Braintree. It was somewhere over there on the line between the two, which basically determined that the Dale Doctrine was correct. So the result of that was that it continued to be a variance-only situation, and that would be what we would be back to, even on lots that had already been created. Now, lots that have already been developed would be protected, but lots that have been created and not changed since then would have to go back for variances on a case-by-case basis at the ZBA. As I say, I wish I could agree that there was grandfathering. If there were some grandfathering written into the proposal, then I think it would be much more acceptable to everyone. But without that, I think we're looking at a combination of lots of variance applications and potentially a lot of litigation.
Can I go to Hillary?
Yeah, sure.
Hillary, go ahead, and then I'm gonna go back to Emily. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Thank you so much. I I would encourage Emily to get Arthur's specific complaints and, supporting case law in detail so that we can get town council to respond and maybe also get a response from the ZBA, because otherwise everyone will be confused. And also I would encourage Emily to think about whether or not the grandfathering adding the grandfathering is something she would like us to do. But most importantly, we have brought this twice, and I've supported it twice, spoken on it twice. And is there any way that we could get more data about these lots? I mean, I see Leslie saying no, there's just no way. This is driven, I'm going to suggest a way. I don't know if we could fund it. Sorry, Leslie, am I exhausting you with my suggestions? I'm just trying to be helpful. Like, if we want to back something, we want to win, right? So we have the tax records. We don't have to answer your questions now, we do not have Sanborn maps except for right in the downtown area where the old buildings were, and the fire company paid to have those maps drawn in the 19th century. So it's the tax records. Could we have some kind of analysis done on that? It just seems like if we're going to have this thing on the books that really guts our zoning, if we can't pass this, we just have lost control of our zoning. It was such a damaging thing to have passed in the first place. I'd like to get more information. I think we owe it to the voters.
go ahead, Leslie.
I've talked with the tax assessor about how to go through their records to determine which lots have pre-55 structures, and that's not a simple task. And this is a citizen petition, so if the commission wants to, excuse me, if the planning board wants to ask for that information, then the citizen should provide it. It's not research that we have the capacity to do, and certainly not for this town meeting.
Right. John, no, I said I was gonna go to you next, so then I'll go to John, sorry.
It's fine. I'll be quick. I think I was just gonna respond that my understanding based on the zoning with regard to the grandfathering issue is that any lots that have already been created are subject to the zoning that was in place when they were created. And so that's where I think
And that zoning's not changing downtown.
well, I mean,
I
as
mean,
far as the
99%.
granting of the pre-existing non-conforming
Yeah.
rights to the lots, that was the letter of the law when those lots were created, so that's what they're subject to. As far as this not necessarily applying to lots that have already been divided, which, I know certainly we can look at getting another opinion on. And then I think the only other thing I wanted to say is obviously this is state law, these divisions are allowed all across the Commonwealth. I think that Nantucket is a place where we see a lot more of them because of our historic structures and the value of land out here, but I don't think there's a single other municipality that has ever granted pre-existing rights to these newly created lots. I think that's something that's been very unique to Nantucket. And I'm happy to provide it. I think there is case law that says that the state never intended these to be buildable on their own without a variance. I mean, I think as Leslie said, the idea here was to not go back to the variance route, like we're sort of trying
Oh,
to
definitely.
address that. Sort of moving forward, but just eliminating the continued granting of these rights because of how it changes the way an area is developed from what our existing zoning allows.
Go ahead, Joe. Thank you. So there are Samuel maps from 1898. I just looked it up for Sconset. So we have this all coming in. But I also have a client that for I don't know how many years they own the property. I think it was like 15 or whatever. And then they were doing some estate planning and it was discovered they had a lot, on lot. So they, exercised their right, but it was a deed research. It had to go through the whole thing. And even though they bought it, no one ever told them about it and had the same attorney. And it wasn't until later on that it was discovered. So as much as I agree with Hillary, I'd love to say to, RPI kids coming to Nantucket, like, go mining, but I think that would be, they come back 3 years later after going through every single deed. So I don't think it's as easy as what sounds. I mean, I had the same kind of thought with Hillary, and as I started to run it down and kind of go from step by step, I was like, this would just be years of investigation and really difficult. But
I did it with AI in really seconds. I uploaded a PDF and I said, can you make a table of which lots have outbuildings that are before 1955? And it was literally seconds.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe our can do it. But to that point, I think that we came so close with this. And I think that's really important. I think the first time, I think the language is a little bit off, and I think we sat down with Leslie and Megan and kind of restructured it and came back with it. So I do think that this is also, this is not typical, language where someone hears this all the time. It's very unique.
That's why
It's
I'm
really kind of people like
concerned about
have no idea what.
This is like
You started reading it.
out of nowhere stuff for people to follow.
But, and that's where I think that it runs into its complications. So to your point, I think it's the campaign and getting the word out and kind of explaining what's going on. I think that's the most important piece. I think that people are sitting in town meeting and some people don't really understand this. And even when I first started, I was like, wait, what is this? And there was one right across the street from me that was discovered like 15, 20 years ago, when I was kind of shocked that that was even there, but Ernie King had set it all up, not Ernie King. Anyways, the Kings had set that up and it was all, able to subdivide it. So I think that we should move this forward. I think that this is, put it back to the public, allow them to go, but I think it's more about educating them. So I'd like to move the motion if we could.
May I make a comment on that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I just wanted to say, I think you're.
Oh, hang on, Harry. I think I'm next.
I'm sorry,
Sorry,
John,
John.
he was right here. I'm sorry, he just, go ahead, John, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm inclined to support this also. And something that Joe just said is the absolute truth. Complexity at town meeting is the enemy of getting it approved. It just is. People don't understand it, and if they don't understand it, they're going to vote no. This has been close a couple of times, and my humble suggestion is that if we are crystal clear about the grandfathering part of this, that will be enough to get a few more clickers going on the yes thing. So I do support it, but I would love to see some absolute clarity around grandfathering, because that's the thing that makes people nervous. Thank you.
Well, that's the argument against it. And one of them, I mean, that we have to make sure that that's what Arthur is saying is or isn't correct. I mean,
Well,
as far as case law.
yeah, I think if you're inclined to support it, you could make a positive motion condition that Leslie and I work with town council and with Emily on specific language on how it impacts lots that were already created utilizing this provision and making sure they remain protected. So as long as we capture that intent, right? Or do they have to? No, okay.
I think
Sorry.
that would be wonderful, Megan.
So maybe continue until Leslie and I can work with Emily and town council on that language for your consideration. then.
How many
Okay.
meetings do we have left for this?
So February 2nd, you'll want to continue it to. January 29th has about 30.
There's too many on that.
There's
Okay.
too much going on.
And I would urge Emily to consider an implementation date. I think it will help.
That's all I was gonna say,
Okay.
because I think it'll help make it more appealing.
I do too.
That's all I was gonna say.
But we don't want to have a flood like this, like a building cap and everybody's gonna build a house, but they're really not. You know what I mean? Like we.
Nat, we're always afraid of that, my friend.
Well, this is, but this is, okay.
It's
I
just
make a
good
motion to
way
continue this to February
Second.
2nd.
Second.
Are you taking any?
Hold, Dave,
No.
just for a second, because you're in wherever you are, Emily's got her hand up. I just want to make sure she gets one more
And we
comment.
didn't take public comment.
Well,
Okay, sorry.
yeah, we did.
I'm just looking at.
I was just also gonna throw out there that, I'm totally on board with everything everyone has said, moving forward. And maybe there's an opportunity to consider either adding language to the article or at least in maybe the planning board's comments, there's an opportunity to, reference a town council opinion about grandfathering, like, I don't know what's best,
Well, I
we can
think
talk
that's
about
what
it,
you're-
but maybe that's what you guys meant.
Yeah.
But whether there's actually language added to the article or there's a comment and something put out there.
That's
I think we
definitely, I
yeah.
think that we're on the same track
Yeah.
on that.
Mhm.
Next
Well,
thing,
my 2 cents on that is it's better if it's in the article.
Mhm.
yeah,
Through the motion.
absolutely.
It gets put in through the motion. We can't alter the
Right.
article. That's
Oh,
what it says.
Okay, but it will be printed though.
Yes, in the
Okay.
motion.
Motion.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, which is what the voters
You're
vote
gonna
on,
read.
the
Okay.
motion, not the article.
Okay, so Dave's made a motion to move to the 2nd
Yep,
of February, correct?
yes.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Second,
Okay, all those in favor, Dave,
Aye.
John,
aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
Joe, aye. Chair votes aye. Emily, the next article you could bring is how do we get a telephone pole out of a sidewalk? They're putting them right back in the same spot. Yeah. Okay.
Now, before you move on.
Yes.
I thought this was sort of a public hearing, or is it just a public?
We continued it. Oh,
The public hearing isn't closed, but we've already continued it, so this matter
It's a
will be
public-
discussed on
yes.
February 2nd. But make sure if you want to say something on something, Campbell, right?
I too.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
didn't see you.
It's okay. I choose to sit in the corner.
Sorry.
We get in front of Nats.
At the head of the table.
I wasn't, we,
Billy, can you
You'll have
please
another
bring
chance
up
to
the
send us
map
an
for
email
the
with
next,
something you want us to
the
know
next
about.
article?
Yeah, I can
Thank
try and
you.
get in touch with him.
okay, so
So this next one should be
Yeah,
really
this
quick.
is an easy one.
Last year you all had proposed to move these two properties to R5. it- The property owners stood up at town meeting, disagreed with that. I've since met with both of them. And they are willing to move to CN. They weren't willing to move to R5. CN is more compatible with the existing uses of those properties. And then this quantum of vote would be 50% because changing from RC2 to CN allows for multi-family mixed-use development.
Yeah. Okay,
I just have a quick question on that.
Had a girl getting quick.
Right, forget standing.
Cut the line.
on formalities here. So I just had a quick question. Are those lots large enough to be R10?
So R10 is not for consideration right now. CN is the only thing that can be considered because that's how the article has been drafted. But to answer that question, let me,
There's no R10 near there.
there's no R10 near there, so that would be a spot
Not in
zone.
And they're small lots.
Yeah, I think they're undersized they would be undersized for that district, so.
The CN there is a bit of a concern because I've noticed in the CN things along Surfside Road, it's really created a lot of parking problems. So there's an increasing amount of on-street parking. 45 Surfside might be an example.
So as you can see on the map, this is bordered by CN on two
Yeah,
of three
Yeah,
sides.
I looked at
Yeah.
it. Thank
Okay.
you, Megan. I
Yep.
appreciate it.
I think you also have to look at what was there before.
Well, I think
I mean,
Suzanne's hair design is there, right? And
No, it's it's a residence and on one lot, that I think has multiple units. And the other is a garage apartment with the petite travelers.
oh, right,
baby
right.
rental
Yes, I see
business.
where you are. Yeah, yeah,
So
That's
those-
yummy.
Yep, and I think, a large part of this is the planning board likes to work with property owners to the extent possible on their zoning change. And both of these owners have
And we're
expressed
getting-
interest in moving to CN over R5, which
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be, the other
Yeah.
option.
Okay. So.
Hillary has her hand up.
Hillary, go ahead.
Thanks. I just had a technical question. So if it moves to C, am I right that both of the lots would be undersized? And they're also, I think, especially on the small lot, it's a single family dwelling, right? So they would be, am I right about that, both of those things?
The small, I believe it's I think it functions as a duplex, but they already are maximized on their footprint, so there wouldn't be expansion potential anyway.
So I was less concerned about the expansion potential and more concerned about what happens when we make a zoning change that makes the otherwise conforming, non-conforming as to use or area.
So it's not going to be non-conforming as to use. I've confirmed that with both property owners, how they're currently utilizing their property. And to area, it just becomes an undersized lot.
And obviously, we generally try to not create zoning nonconformities, but in this case, these are on the corner, the lot right at the corner of Surfside Road and My Comment Ave is irregularly shaped. These are leftover lots. They could have gone to R5. They wanted to go to CN and they understand the implications of that.
And how are they conforming as to use?
No, that's okay. So the one up front, it is a single family home with another apartment unit within the building, as I understand from speaking with the property owner. Apartment buildings are use allowed by special permit in CN, but that's how those would be classified if they were under CN and needed to be altered. The property adjacent to that has two structures on it. One of those structures is a garage that is utilized commercially for the petite travelers business. And then there's an accessory apartment next door in the other structure.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Duplex.
No, I am.
Who else has nobody else has a hand up, right? No. John, do you have a hand up or is that just? John?
I'm sorry, I
No.
didn't. Let me put it down.
No, I don't know if you do or not. I
I think
can't.
it's because of- I
Quickly.
think it's because of-
Okay. Sorry.
You don't see the hand.
Okay,
Go ahead, Campbell.
Campbell?
No.
Oh, okay, so is everyone all set? If they are, I'll accept the motion.
So you have to close the
Oh,
public hearing
Okay,
first.
motion to close the public hearing, sorry.
I make that motion.
Second,
Oh, Dave will second, okay, I mean, Joe, Jesus. All right. Dave kind of
Aye.
made the motion and Joe seconded. All those in favor to close, Dave,
Aye.
Joe, aye. John,
aye.
Hillary,
Hi.
and the chair votes aye, sorry about that. Okay, so on the article,
And just as a reminder, because you haven't done this in a year, you need to include the quantum vote in your motion, please.
okay. With that said, whoever makes the motion, this will be a 50%. Vote.
I'd make the motion to give it a positive recommendation, acknowledging that the quantum of vote is 50%.
Now second.
All those in favor, Dave,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Hillary,
Hi.
Joe,
Aye.
chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Okay, this one here is the 11, 13, and 15 Sun Island Road, currently in RC2. And have we decided, have
Yes.
we went to a decision on what we want here?
Yes,
Or what
so I've
property
met
owner?
with the property owners and their desire is to move to CI. Which aligns with the current use.
Yep.
That's their preference and that would be our recommendation.
Okay. Okay. Okay, good. Anyone have any questions on this?
I'm really happy to hear that.
And also, we've changed some things in CI that allows a little bit of like upstairs residential.
Yeah, you can put an accessory, I believe, duplex if it's
With
in
the
front of
coffin
us.
pit was the incubator for this, so. Okay, public hearing is open. Campbell, you okay? Sorry about not recognizing you, I really am, I'm sorry about
I
that.
know you have difficulty turning around.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying, and I can't see the full screen, it's a little, my eye test, it's just
Glasses,
a little further away than what I can see.
What about your glasses?
That's for reading. Okay, so if there's no comments on this, I'll accept a motion to close.
Motion to close public comment.
Is there a
Second.
second? Seconded by John, all those in favor, John,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Hillary.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, thank you. On the motion, on the article,
And this is a 50% because in CI by special permit, you can have apartments.
yeah. Okay, that answered what I said, that's good, thank you for that. So I'll accept the motion to give a positive,
Motion to approve and acknowledges a 50% quantum boost.
is there a second?
Second.
For a positive motion, right, Joe?
Yeah, positive.
Is 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all those in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Hillary,
Hi.
John,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
the chair votes aye, thank you. Okay, this piece here is what we just looked at our meeting recently.
So Billy, will you bring Carl and Scarlett over as panelists because they're the property owners for this next article?
Oh, no, that's a different- I'm thinking of, the landscape, but never mind.
So this is another change immediately adjacent to the one we just looked at. The property that you all know as Toscana. And the request here is to move from RC2 to CMI, which does directly abut this property. And the quantum of vote would be 50%.
And I'll just add, we've been working with this property owner for
This is a long time.
many years
Yeah.
to phase this property out of the RC2 district. We've talked about a lot of options. And you know, we're thankful that he has come to an agreement on CMI that does. It's basically the same density as RC2. It has a mixed use housing focus, unlike RC2, which we all know is kind of a free-for-all. It's consistent with other zoning in the area.
And the special permits that are currently in place for this property will allow the continuance of its use as it exists today and in the future. So it gives the property owner flexibility to maintain the current operations, but also, you know, lends itself to, I don't know, perhaps something different in the future that focuses more on mixed use.
Yeah, and this is the kind of thing that, you know, it's never gonna be perfect. You
Right.
can't have 100 zoning districts.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I think it's good to understand what this does, protects the rights that they have now and opens up a possibility for something different that we want to happen. And instead of it being locked up in something we don't want.
And we're on the home stretch of the RC2 phase out, and a lot of the articles that are in the warrant that you'll be talking about take us like almost to the finish line.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. This is a big piece.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
And I think just one more thing to add, you know, when we're having conversations with property owners, we try and determine what is it that's important to them to preserve. So in the prior article, that property owner didn't have permits in place for that use because it's a use allowed by right in RC2, and it meant more to them to allow, you know, put it into the use chart where it's allowed by right, maintaining that use. It didn't matter at all to them how their lot size in the future would be impacted. This property owner, you know, doesn't want to lose the existing use rights, which they won't because of the special permit, but they, you know, were concerned about how they would be impacted if their lot size would be slashed in half, going from 5,000 to 10,000. So, you know, you really need to take those sorts of things into consideration too, when recommending zoning changes.
and actually to see, I would have been 5 to 15,
Or
Yeah.
15, sorry, so
Yeah.
threefold, not
Yeah.
twofold.
Yeah.
triple.
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Oh. Go. Okay,
Okay, so I can't really see the little print with the colors.
Okay.
So I'm going to assume that the lot we're looking at is going yellow,
Yes,
and the
Yes.
one that we just looked at is going purple.
yes.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
there you go, Carl.
got it. Carl, go ahead. Thank you for being here.
Thank you all. It's, you guys do quite a job. It's a lot of work and it's appreciated. And, thanks for reaching out and talking to me about it. I know we've talked about it in the past. But the CMI does work, and I just want to be crystal clear that we're not going to get any, blowback from neighbors down the road because we're now in a different zoning district. And I want to make absolutely sure that all of the uses that we're currently using this property for will be continued until we decide to do something different down the road.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yes,
Yes.
yep.
Okay, all good with us.
okay. So does anyone else have any questions? Nobody else has a hand up. You all set?
Hillary does.
Hillary, okay, sorry, where, oh,
Are we going
okay,
to,
sorry.
has everyone here for the public hearing spoken? Are we going, can we now talk and ask questions as a board?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just, hi, Carl. Uh, I just had some questions for the owner. So are you eager to change your zoning? Like, is this something you don't want RC2 anymore?
No, we bought this property because it was RC2 and it allowed us to do all the stuff that we are doing now, plus whatever we wanted to do down the road if we were to subdivide and develop the property further. We were fine in RC2, but I understand that, the planning board and the town's wanting to eliminate RC2, particularly in the neighborhoods where it doesn't belong. And you've created all these other zoning districts, so I mean, we're totally okay with it.
And so you're okay with CMI, but what were some of the reasons why you didn't want like CN or some of the other zones? I understand.
Well, I don't think CN really works out here. It's not that much of a residential neighborhood.
But CN is,
But CI is, as Leslie said, it's 3 times the lot size and much more restrictive. I mean, housing is a huge issue on this island, as everybody knows, and if down the road they wanted to do apartments or mixed use out there, then I think it's a perfect piece to do that.
so I totally understand why you wouldn't want CI. I mean, I understand why some people might, but it makes sense to me what you might not like about the CI zone. But uh, was CN something that
Too restrictive
in terms,
as far as commercial uses go.
I see. So you want it, you're using it in an industrial way and you wouldn't be able to if.
Yeah, but if we were to eliminate the industrial aspect of this property, we could then,
CN and Sierra.
I don't know, if you wanted to have restaurants, nightclub, mixed use of apartments,
Yeah.
something like that.
CN is very, very similar to RC2 in terms of use and density. It's also 5,000 square foot lots and the setbacks are
7,500.
No.
7,500.
7,500.
Oh, right. So, sorry, CN goes to 7,500. That's right. But the uses are similar. The setbacks are similar. The thing about the CMI designation that I just wanted to discuss and hear what the board thinks about is that it's just lot line to lot line development. It is, designated for commercial mid-island. Like it's more of an urban pattern of development, which certainly has an important place, but it doesn't currently, we don't have any like fine tuning designations. Like we can't require commercial on the first floor. And it means no single family homes. So I don't know. I didn't have a problem with leaving this as RC2, frankly. I don't know why we have this strong urge to get rid of a zoning. Like there's nothing necessarily bad about RC2, especially when a place is settled and we kind of know what it wants to be and it's working. My concern about the CMI, maybe not in this location, it's a very big parcel for Nantucket. I think altogether it's 3.5 acres. And it could, we could have like lot line to lot line apartment buildings here with no, we can't mandate ground floor development. And we're in the middle of a master planning exercise right now. We're kind of flying without a plan. We don't have our objectives, and we have a lot of articles that our staff is suggesting we put on the warrant that move to CMI, and we could have, apartment buildings in all of those, which and then we could find ourselves suddenly with a type of growth and density that we didn't really expect or plan for because we didn't look at it as a whole big picture. So that I'm kind of inclined to move this year until we finish our master plan, but I'm certainly receptive to other, open for discussion.
I just would like to say something on that, excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I don't agree with commercial neighborhood. This is fairly, this is light industry in my mind out here. And I think when we look at where we want to mix commercial and residential, in my mind, we want it where you're going to be able to have some green space where people are going to be able to live, but you've got commercial industrial surrounding this for the most part. There's a small piece that touches commercial neighborhood that has apparently something with the airport, I assume, and is underdeveloped. So I just want to, pop that concept in, because you're sort of just plopping it right in the middle of I don't know, not a really attractive living space. So that's just my thought on changing it. I don't want to get into the RC2 piece.
Mr.
Dave.
Chair,
Yeah, go ahead, Dave, sorry.
thank you. I think there's a couple things we need to keep in mind. One, we do still have a master plan. We've been rolling back RC2 for as long as I've been on the planning board. We have a gentleman here who bought his property in RC2, which gave him his rights. To think that we as a planning board, because we don't like the way he could develop this in CMI, are going to suggest a far more restrictive zoning district. Just, I think, it's probably not legal. It could be a taking. And two, I have a moral issue with it. I mean, this gentleman has owned this property for years. And we shouldn't be in the business of taking away property rights from him. He has come to the table. He has stated his case. He's worked with staff, and I think it's the proper thing for us to do here. I don't think think that we can just say, oh, well, we're worried about your development rights. Well, okay, he doesn't want to change anything. He has RC2, he keeps it forever, and he can develop the living hell out of this with a million uses. He's actually giving up uses in CMI, even though he's going to be grandfathered the way he stands. And I just think this is a silly conversation, to be honest with you. I think that this is implementing the master plan. It's preserving the owner's property rights in some sense, and his property values. And I think we should give this a positive recommendation. Thank you.
And it's a matching 5,000 square foot district that is hard to find that niche when you have RC2 that you don't have a good solution for sometimes. This is actually a good solution, and it's next to the airport. I mean,
and we're not going to develop a zoning district just for this lot and a couple others. That doesn't make sense either.
And also too, when we approved the Coffin Pit, we approved it in RC2, and look at what we ran into. We had more special permits or adjustments. We had to do a lot to get that to work, because we needed the small lots for those people in there to do what they needed to do. So I think this is actually, we've learned a lot of, changing some of these. This isn't an obvious one. This isn't Bartlett Road. This isn't the normal places that we've gotten rid of the RC2. Certainly isn't Mast, what used to be RC2. Norshop used to be RC2. We've forgotten all that. I don't forget these things though. So, but this is a spot, I think we've got the right thing here without any real problems. So go ahead, Hillary.
Yeah, so I wasn't suggesting that we change it to something more restrictive. I was suggesting that we leave it alone. And the reason is because I actually don't think CMI is consistent with our master plan that we do have, which yes, we have it, but it's from 2009, but it does say that industrial uses are out by the airport. And if we go to CMI, it's envisioning the CMI zone is for transit-oriented urban style development. And I don't think we have stated that we want transit-oriented urban style development out by the airport. And a lot of the industrial uses are not available. You can't have landscaping, you can't have a lumber yard. So I just want to clarify that that's why I was in favor of just leaving it alone, because I think we want it to be industrial. I understand that the owner, would not want to go to CI, but it's working the way it is. And I think that CMI is actually not really a fit out here. And we haven't done a build out study. If we convert all of these places to CMI and they all go to apartments, we do not know what will happen. So that's why I don't think it's a silly conversation, with all due respect.
John, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, first, I don't think going forward we should have any board member accused of silly conversations, because I, for one, often say things I wished I didn't say, but I'd rather not be called out for silly. It wasn't me this time, but anyway. For me, Mr. Jelani is and his family are very trusted, members of this community going back in the day. So he's been very, I think, upfront and honest that he's just trying to protect what he's already got. And I think we should help him do just that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead, Joe. Is anyone in the public? All right, I'm gonna close the public comment.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by John. John,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Jim votes aye. Okay,
So,
on the article.
so RC2, he's got the same size lots and all this, and it's residential commercial. I think it's good, that zoning creates problems, so we're trying to get rid of this to clean it up, and Carl is accepting, and talking with us and working with us, that this is a really good solution that will work. So I think that this is, and knowing Carl, for, I think 35 years, sorry to admit that, Carl, but, the age, but, he's always trying to do right by Nantucket and his, from what I've witnessed. So I think that the intent of this and what I think we'll do at the end of when this is converted, I think is going to be beneficial to the town of Nantucket. I think it's going to work in a way that he's not going to just do anything. He's going to do something that's going to work for Nantucket and help us work in some ways. So yes, the master plan might be out of place, but or out of date, but at the same time, we're working on it, and we also know where it's coming and where it's going to end up. And I think this is going to achieve this when the master plan gets finalized. So I think this is all going to be dovetailing in to the master plan that when it comes out to work together. So if no one has another comment, want to make a motion to approve this as drafted
With 50%.
with a 50% quantum.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Joe,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Hillary,
No.
and the chair votes aye. Make that notation 4-1. Okay, next article. Thank you, Kyle, by the way, wherever you are. There you go.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Zoning bylaw amendment use chat for restaurants. That terminology, you brought that up the last meeting, is very important. This little glitch that's in there like that.
Oh, that's just the
Nobody
way
thought about that.
large restaurant large. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
so,
just how it is in the code.
Yeah.
So that's how it has to be put in the article.
I know, I remember that got brought up and I'm like, okay. no one was thinking about all these different things that have come up since then, but anyway, that's cool, so. What are we, can you guys just explain this for the public?
Yes. Do
We
you
just,
wanna do it?
Doesn't matter. So right now, large restaurants, which are defined as 71 to 200 seats, are not allowed in the commercial neighborhood district.
yeah,
We are just proposing that you change that to special permit. The commercial neighborhood district is the district where these
Where
types of
movement-
uses
yeah.
should be located. There's commercial neighborhood, you know, within close proximity, walking distance to residential areas and to lighter commercial areas. And so, you know, it's not by right, it would be by special permit. The planning board would be the special permit granting authority. And you could review the site plan and apply
Yeah.
conditions.
gain access, et cetera. No, and this is part of the IC2 phase out. It's kind of triggered this to kind of happen by itself, so you can see that, just so. Okay, does anyone have any questions, comments?
I do.
Hi, Campbell, yes.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the CN tends to be smaller areas, sort of dotted around. There are some larger areas, but I'm just wondering how many large restaurants are we really thinking will pop up? Again, I have big concerns around the parking issue. We have small establishments in commercial neighborhoods, and they end up with overflow parking. You know, you could, and I know Donnie Flake was CMI, but that was just a very difficult place to park.
Well,
Or
it's
get
the
in
way it was
or
originally
out.
set
But
up.
it's popular, I'm just,
Yeah.
you know, they become popular, and then my other wonder is. It seems. And I don't go out all the time. But it seems like a lot of the restaurants that are able to maintain over time are smaller ones. Versus larger ones, and I agree with a special permit, I wouldn't approve like otherwise, but I'm just trying to figure out like. How many of these would we be expecting, number one, and number two, is this based on knowledge of someone that wants to put one of these in?
This is more of I call it, not necessarily a cleanup, but a experience cleanup. Like what's
But
happened,
it's expanding like, well, yeah, I guess, since it starts at 71 seats.
but what,
And you know, you might want like 75, then you're in a large situation. But just the idea that a 200-seat restaurant is going to make it out here just seems a stretch.
good, just.
No, I was just gonna say, it would be under special permit, so it's, you know, instead of being by right, how a small restaurant would be, there's this extra layer of review. You absolutely still need to comply with the parking calculations, just like you would with any use or a waiver through special permit, so that would remain unchanged. Some examples of pre-existing non-conforming large restaurants in CN that have moved on to other uses, but just for context and kind of
Mhm.
visualize of size. Keeper's Cinco,
Yeah.
that was a large restaurant. AK Diamonds, that was a large restaurant. So,
Even Schooners was one of
Yeah.
200.
yep,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
they've all.
yes. But we can't contemplate how a business may be
And a
profitable or
front
struggle. It has to do with,
track
yes,
is gonna
uses.
be very challenging for anyone to do now. I mean, that's why I was just gonna bring up Old South Road on the left. Is that, what is that over there? What it used to be? That used to be RC.
That's CN.
The Holgate property.
That's
Yeah, that's
CN.
CN, they used to be
That's
RC two though.
Yeah, and
And
that's.
does that fit into this?
No, that's entirely
Under.
different. That is not
It's not a restaurant.
that's not a seated restaurant.
All right, okay,
Mhm.
never mind.
It-
So
it-
I'm just saying that. And the Muse used to be Shell Steakhouse and the Derby, Joe. You remember the Derby? See
Keep
that?
going, kid.
Pizza, first one. Everybody thinks it was. Had hatches, no, it wasn't. So anyway, I think that it, this just makes it a little more flexible, I think.
Yeah.
Depending, you know, and we can't, I mean, you know, I don't wanna say cars don't matter, but like, everything is changing. You know, and it keeps things spread out. You know, I mean, I don't, I just,
No.
I just don't know what the answer is, and we have to clean it up a
In
little bit.
parking lots, it's, again, I keep going, because I wrestle with it through the summer, every single day. 45 Surfside, you have 18 wheelers that park to go and get coffee there.
Well.
That is a traffic issue, right? It is a small restaurant, but what if they wanted to go big?
Well,
They'd need
they
to
don't
buy the
have
property
anything big.
next door for parking.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I just want to add on to what Megan said. We established the CN district, I think around like 2009.
Yeah,
We didn't map it until later. And we've been expanding the location where CN is beyond maybe what we initially visualized, because we've been phasing out the RC2
Yeah.
because other, formerly commercially zoned areas have gone to residential development. And so,
that's the key. That's what I
we,
didn't say yet. but
at
good.
the time,
Yeah.
wanted to sort of narrow the uses
Yeah.
that were allowed while we developed the mapping and decided like where these districts were going to be located, and we've done a lot of work. And adding the allowance by special permit
Yep.
just allows a little more flexibility and a few more options for people who want to start a business.
I think
That's-
Bartlett Road, from beginning to end, is the best place to talk about what was underneath the RC2. It was mostly residential. And that kind of gives you an idea of how, what, if these small little nodes, you need to try to find the right thing for these. And you also want to have the ability to have a special permit. You don't want too much by right either, depending upon where it is and what is being proposed, so. Okay, what was I gonna say next? What are you?
That was two people
Okay,
with their hands up.
okay, Dave, go ahead. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
And I completely hear Campbell's concern, but I think the important thing is special permit. We have the ability to deal with size and all the other things. So I'm not that concerned about this. It's not a by right.
No. A former select board member said to me once, why couldn't we just change all the zoning in 1 year? I've
I
never
wish we
forgotten
could.
that question. And it sounds like a great idea, but it would be completely impossible, impossible to do, but I can understand why somebody might say that because of how long it takes, but you can't do everything like we did in 1972, Joe. It's never gonna happen. It would be like they think we were completely insane. But anyway, okay, so John, yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. Just a quickie, really following up on Dave. I mean, we've taken the risk out of this by making it a special permit. It's not like we're going from a no, an N to a Y. We're going to, yeah, okay, let's look at some of these. So to me, it kind of makes a logical sense to do this because we retain a control on what really gets approved and what doesn't. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And I also think too, I don't need to take longer, but we have a lot of, I guess we have a lot of local case law or use law or findings. And the best one is West Creek Road. How that developed when Kitty's got built with the building in the front. I mean, excuse me, the building in the back, sorry, without it in the front is the last thing done wrong before we started fixing things and making it right to the parking in the back. Same with the whole Willie House thing with the little road that goes down to kitchen and in there and all that. And we had to say no to the bowling alley because there wasn't one parking space that was legal because of that snafu with who has the rights to the parking in there. But we just have to, we can't reinvent Nantucket and make it Arizona and start from scratch. We just have to keep plugging away at this stuff. And I think we're doing a pretty good job doing it. You saw that in the first article tonight with land that's been there forever and how we have to kind of find a way to make it work with people. And I think that, and still fit what we've approved and what we've been doing. So, I think this is a smart move because it gives us more control for what's coming, which isn't gonna be a lot, probably existing buildings, converted type stuff, things like that. Because everything switches. If I gave you the list of the restaurants we used to have in town versus what we have now, there's less than we used to have. The India House is gone, this Quake House is gone, and there's a lot of places that don't exist anymore. So,
Mr. Chairman, if no one else in the public.
Yeah.
I would like to close public comment.
yeah, is there a second to Joe's motion?
Second.
All those in favor, John,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
Joe, chair votes aye. Thank you. On the article, and this is a 2/3.
Yes.
Okay. So anyone want to make a motion for positive recommendation, hopefully?
I'll make a positive recommendation with a quantum vote of 2/3.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, John,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
Joe, aye. Chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Next one is
No, it's building, we changed it. Yep. I had.
Language change.
The building.
for apartment building.
Okay, so, Billy, can you zoom in on that? Sorry,
And hopefully this one will be quick.
this should be quick.
There we go. Make the print bigger, Billy. Good job. I just had my DOT license in there, and they need to move me forward like 1 foot. But I wouldn't
I'll
also.
just- In our version of the.
Oh, that's one.
It's fine.
So what this article does right now, apartment buildings, so that's apartments that are residential use only. There's no mixed use component to it. It caps out at 6 dwelling units and 8 bedrooms on a single lot. And what this article does, it allows the planning board to grant a waiver of the bedroom limitation only when the entire building is eligible to be placed onto the SHI list. So we've had feedback from
Okay.
affordable housing developers that, you know, the numbers don't always work out to make a project viable
Viable,
because of the
yeah.
bedrooms and then also comply with the affordability restrictions. So this just allows the planning board to be a little bit flexible in that bedroom count in lieu of getting those affordability restrictions.
I have a question, Megan.
Mhm.
Do we have to have this in our definition in order to have that flexibility? I mean, couldn't we do that if we wanted to?
No, the current definition does not allow you to grant a waiver of the bedroom limitations.
Okay.
You're a
Yeah.
restriction, but we have to have it in legal. Like the deed restriction thing,
Yeah.
we have to have it to be legal. So this gives us the authority to do it legally without a challenge.
But you can't even waive the bedroom provisions in the first place at the
Yeah.
moment. So this doesn't allow the planning board to have free reign of waiving bedroom requirements. It only allows you to do so in connection with an affordability component.
Could we add to this? I'm just thinking about what will inevitably be the problem, which I think we kind of faced on the place across from the Stop and Shop, which is we never know how projects pencil out, right? We have to work with developers. We have to expect that they're going to get what they can get. That's their job. But they are going to want to have more bedrooms, and they're going to want to have those more bedrooms be market rate. This gives kind of a lipstick situation because it certainly helps us with the SHI list. That's important for us and we like that, but it doesn't actually help create more affordable housing, right? Because the additional bedrooms will be market rate. Isn't that what we're talking about?
No. So I'm sorry, Hillary, let me clarify just a couple of points. This does not allow a provision to increase dwelling units, so you're not allowed to do that through this provision. 6 is 6, that's the most you can get, regardless of, how many bedrooms may or may not be allowed. This only allows an increase in bedroom count when the entire building is placed on the SHI list. So how that works is 25% of the units must be deed restricted at 80% AMI or below. And EOHLC also has certain requirements. I believe 10% needs to be 3 bedrooms. They have an allocation of based on the number of units, they specify how many have to be X bedrooms that are deed restricted. So it'll always be capped out at 6 total units. It just gives the flexibility in increase in bedrooms, and in exchange, 25% will have to be deed restricted affordable in the building, which puts the whole building on the SHI list.
So
So
are
it
you,
doesn't go
it's
extra
another
units.
tool to motivate them to put the affordable units in it?
Yes.
And then can you tell me more about the bedroom count limit and how it would change?
So right now it's limited to 8 total bedrooms and 6 dwelling units. So however someone wants to allocate those total bedrooms, it would be to their discretion, but there's no way to allow additional bedrooms. So say you couldn't create, under our existing definition, you could not create 6 2-bedroom units. You could not create, any combination that would exceed 8 bedrooms. This just provides a tool that if the building is placed on the SHI list, it gives the planning board flexibility to grant more bedrooms.
I understand. Thank you for taking me through that. And what about the parking? Does the parking requirement per bedroom still be what it is, or?
Yep, so this does not propose a change to the parking requirements. The parking requirements are still going to be 1 space per bedroom. So the planning board would have to waive that through a special permit if that, is how that would be proposed. But this does not change the parking requirements in any capacity.
And how do we feel about that? We think that's good because the parking takes up so much space on the lot.
Well, I think you have to pursue a special permit anyway, for an apartment building and for this waiver. So if someone needed a waiver, they could just lump that request into the apartment building special permit.
And before I go to John, I just want to ask you something. Did this kind of come out of the SPAC tab project a little bit?
No, so they're not an apartment building, they're apartment. It's a different calculation because they're mixed use. This just has come out of
Just
different
the
conversations I've had with people
Yeah,
over time.
yeah, okay, good. I'm just curious. John? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there a way that we could make sure that these extra bedrooms, in some way, are given proportionately to the non-market rate unit? So they're not, so the advantage is shared equally, sort of thing.
So they'd have to, it would mean if you granted a waiver of even 1 additional bedroom, it would automatically, based on how this language is created, require that 25% of the units be deed restricted affordable. Whereas if you didn't grant a waiver of a single bedroom, they could all be market rate.
But I think John's question was about the bedrooms themselves and which units they're in.
Yes, it is.
So I think that's something that you could negotiate through the issuance of the special permit for the additional bedrooms. So you would need to talk with the applicant about how many units are they proposing, what's their makeup. That's something that you could talk about at the time.
And we also have the housing director online with her hand raised. She might be able to provide a little more context to this.
Is she up there?
Yeah.
John, Christie's
Okay,
on.
but Leslie, it sounds like you understand what I'm trying to get at, right? That
Yes.
Yeah.
the extra bedrooms are not all in the market rate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Christie on? Got her hand.
I'm here, but I think that
Oh, there you go.
John
Yeah,
just said
sorry.
that his question was answered.
This is Christie's hand.
Yeah, she's good.
See it now. I didn't see it before. Okay, so are you good, Christie?
Yes.
Okay. See her. See, Howard didn't see her either. So anyway, okay. So we all set here. Does anyone have any questions? Campbell, you okay?
I was a little confused, but I guess it's good.
Yeah, it got cleared up in the last couple minutes.
Yeah, sort of, but I guess I thought the whole building was gonna be on the shy list. Then my question is, well,
No.
if it's
Oh,
permanent. is
The
it
whole
just-
building will be on the shy list, but 20,
Yeah, right.
for the whole building to be on the shy list,
But it has to be a
25% of them
certain
have to be
That's not my
affordable.
question. I got that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the
If
numbers.
25% is the deed restricted, does it make for 3 units to go on the shy list or just 1 unit being the overall structure? Do you see what I'm saying?
Depends on how many units there are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is
25% of the total units
That's
have
just
to
the
be,
And they can be bought down.
like
too.
one unit.
Yeah.
If we did over here. Okay, that's kind of where I was going before. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Dave, for that. With that said, I'll accept the motion to close.
so
Motion to
moved.
close comment. And Dave, you want to second that?
Sure,
Since you
yeah.
both talked at the same exact time? Okay, all those in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Joe. Chair votes aye. Thank you. Okay, motion, and this is a no, this is 50%.
50% because it allows an increase in density by
Yeah.
special permit.
Yep, sorry, I was reading one. Anyone want to make a motion, positive recommendation?
So moved
Second,
with the
50%.
50% quantum vote, yeah.
Yeah, second. Okay, so all those in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Joe. Aye. Yeah, votes aye, thank you. Okay, the Community Land Trust,
Yes.
that
So
away.
this inserts a new definition into our zoning bylaw for community land trust. Our current definitions for second dwelling, it doesn't, it's not conducive to their form of ownership where you have multiple dwelling units on a lot in a condominium form of ownership with a land trust owning the land in which they sit on. So this doesn't allow for any increase in density. You're allowed whatever the underlying zoning district allows. All it allows is for the ownership form to conform with their model. So that's all this is. And Arthur Reed is online too. He's the attorney that represents the Nantucket Community Land
Yeah.
Trust if you have any further questions about how their model works.
No, it's good. Anyone have any questions? Comments?
Hillary has her hand raised.
Oh, sorry, Hillary, gotcha.
So question about this, I support the idea of community land trusts. I just want to make sure we get all the things that might come up over the course of discussion about this. So this, so if the community land trust buys the land and then they're able to sell the house to other people can build the houses, and so that lowers the cost for the other people. Then this also lets, like, if a lot would typically support 2 dwellings, this would allow multiple people to be in to own the 2 dwellings in different ownership, right?
Yes, that's correct. So long as they're subject to a year-round housing restriction and an attainable housing restriction, which currently we define year-round as 10 months or greater and attainable 240% AMI or less. So those,
Covenant.
well, it's more than a covenant. It's really year-round attainable because a covenant is capped at 150% AMI.
Which that should change.
Yeah, well,
It's another story.
that's nothing to do with this.
That needs to be, all that stuff's gotta get.
So I think though that's an important piece to this, Hillary, and also, the land will always have to be owned by the community land trust and subject to those 2 restrictions.
And it still it doesn't change the dimensions of the lot, right? We're not multiple lots. We're just basically allowing for multiple ownership on the lot subject to deed restriction. So
Yes.
one of the things that has always struck me as unusual about Nantucket zoning is that we just don't have a lot of multifamily. Like we used to have this multifamily overlay zone, and I don't know the history. I'll probably have to get a lesson from my pal Nat about the history of why that went away. But we don't really have multifamily, and multifamily has a real purpose in communities, and it just feels like this is kind of inching to multifamily in a certain way. And that might be something we might want to discuss more robustly.
Before I go to Arthur, Leslie, could you just quickly
Yeah.
answer that? Because we have a lot of multifamily stuff in the bylaws in different zoning districts.
I actually almost brought up the old multifamily overlay district during the Arrowhead Drive Hinsdale Road discussion, but I refrained, so I guess it was meant to be.
Yeah.
So the multifamily overlay district, the MyPod,
Yep.
used to be sort of strewn around the Mid-Island, and there was some off of Nobodere Farm Road, around the Mid-Island Stop and Shop area. There was some off Bartlett Farm Road, like 30 Acres Lane area. I can't remember, some off Old South, yeah, and that was kind of it. And the required a special permit for 1 unit for every 2,500 square feet of lot area. You could have up to 4 units. And the units had to be restricted to either year-round occupancy or peak seasonal employee occupancy, which was defined as May through October for employees. So that was essentially replaced by apartment and apartment building allowances and a more multifamily. So for instance, the CMI area, encourages more multifamily type use. So does CN with apartments, so does C-Tech with apartments. So there's a lot of multifamily now, it's just not defined as the multifamily overlay district as it was before. And there's actually some legislation pending that I'm going to hear more about tomorrow at MARPA that would allow pretty widespread multifamily in all zoning districts in all towns. So I will keep you all posted on that. Yeah.
Arthur has his hand raised.
Yes, Arthur, go ahead. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I just wanted to explain how the concept is developed in terms of the Nantucket Land Trust and the model that we plan to use. And again, we may engage in other activities as well, but the basic concept here is that we would own, and I'm on the board of the Land Trust, we would own a piece of property in the trust, and then individuals would own the houses under long-term proprietary leases, 99-year leases. We own the land and they own the house, which is constructed by them or acquired by them from a prior owner, or however the house gets there. Under the long-term lease. It gives them the status of home ownership for purposes of their owning the home and having the benefits of home ownership, while at the same time the trust will control the property on a long-term basis to make sure that the overall purpose is maintained in perpetuity. And obviously, if you have any other questions, let me know.
Yep.
I just have a quick question on that, through you, Chair, to Arthur. So who's responsible for the land maintenance?
The house person.
I couldn't hear what the.
Oh.
She's asking who's responsible for the property management outside of the house.
The individual owners will be. I mean, obviously, we will be able to keep an eye on the situation, but the management would be with the homeowners. They will own their own houses. They will own, and these will be single-family houses in a typical situation that they would operate and use just as if it were a separate lot that they owned outright.
Okay.
they're responsible for the dirt maintenance,
Good call.
essentially. Okay, does anyone else have anything? Any more hands up? Okay, that said. We'll accept a motion to close.
Motion to close public comment.
So move.
I'll take that as a second, John, from Joe's motion, sorry. Is that okay if I do that?
Yeah,
Because
of course.
you couldn't hear him, sorry about that. All those in favor, John,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay, this is a 2/3 quantum vote. I'll accept the motion to give a positive from someone.
So moved with a 2/3 quantum vote.
Yep. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Hillary, a second by John. Hillary,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Excellent, thank you very much. Okay. Megan, do you want to explain this paragraph?
What? Oh, no, there's nothing to
That's
explain.
all-
That was just.
That's just a, okay, so that's
Yep.
not anything that we have to talk about.
Towards the door.
Yep.
Okay,
so
no,
next
just
meeting
wanna make
is,
sure I don't forget anything.
We have next meeting.
Next meeting's Thursday, January 29th at 4 p.m. Back in the community room, regular time, different day, very long agenda, bring snacks.
Guys have it.
And any questions ahead of time if you possibly can.
We're-
Keep it moving.
I will say, we're finalizing the zoning articles in terms of order. We had some very non-substantive technical changes based on conversations with town council yesterday. DCR reviewed the floodplain article, so I have some updates to that. So once that is complete, I will circulate to the board the final zoning text by
And
end of day tomorrow.
yeah, and one other thing, the select board is set to adopt the warrant next Wednesday. I went over all the warrant articles with them last night. That went smoothly.
Nice job.
And,
Saw
oh,
that.
thank you. And, the warrant has shaped right up and I think they'll be on schedule for Wednesday evening. And then we'll circulate a final warrant to everyone and that's done.
I'm gonna
Okay.
make a special request that everybody reserve extra time to go over the ADU bylaw. I just heard, I'm only familiar with it from the conversation from the select board and it's just really complicated with a lot of nuances and details. It's going to take extra time. And if we're going to have a quality discussion and come to consensus, we all would really just plan to do some extra reading on that one, everyone.
Yeah, agreed.
We're gonna be developing some sort of, I don't wanna,
Cliff notes?
I don't, yeah. I don't want to box myself into a certain form, but whether it's a flow chart or a very kind of layman's term memo,
Yeah.
whatever it's going to be, we're gonna have to circulate something to kind of break it down and make it digestible for especially people that aren't involved in this every day. And town council will be at the meeting on the 29th as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is gonna be complicated because there are a lot of articles, I don't wanna belabor this meeting, but there are a lot of articles that are all tied together and they sort of have to be discussed together or they don't make any sense. So we're trying to work on some graphics or some way to present that to make it really simple.
Explanation of the second drawing issue
Yeah.
is huge.
Mhm.
That's like
I agree.
it's like driving on the beach,
Flow chart.
okay? So,
Diagrams and graphics aren't my area of expertise,
But
so
we have.
we have people, we may enlist Chat GPT, so we'll come up with something.
Yeah.
This is you here.
Yes.
Okay. A motion to adjourn from someone?
Like John.
Oh, John has his hand up.
Oh, John, go ahead, sorry about that.
Two comments, Mr. Chair. First of all, nice job, Mr. Acting Chair tonight, moved us through
Trying,
pretty quick.
trying.
And
No
second
more.
is,
No-
it sounds
no
like
more.
you're gonna have to get a few early nights nap before the ADU discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, John. So motion
to adjourn.
is that a second?
Second,
Okay, motion made by Joe, seconded by John. John,
aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
Joe. Aye. Chair votes aye. Thank you, everyone.
So
Okay.
Yeah, Dave's